Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with your friends and get your gaming goodness every Monday at 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I'm Ashley Hobley, and joining me today on the couch is Ciaran Marchant.
Hello, I'm here to sprout some of the human rights causes for Pokemon and talk about Pokemon rights because some of them are very fucked up.
Cool, we'll get into that on today's episode. There's been a bunch of presentations, so we're going to talk about a bunch of them, especially the Pokemon one. And then there's been a bunch of studio closures, so we'll talk about them as well, you know? It's all fun and games here at Arcade Couch. Let's kick things off. A Pokemon Presents happened this week. Obviously, it's the 29th anniversary of Pokemon, which is fucking wild. Apparently, Pokemon Day back on the 27th. That's the day that Pokemon first released in Japan. So yeah, bunch of stuff announced. Reading from Press Start, the big one, we got an update on Pokemon ZA, which is still coming this year. Much like Pokemon Legends Arceus, the game seems to have focus on battling and open world exploration. We see our trainer jumping from roof to roof throughout Lumio City. Perhaps most exciting is the return of Mega Evolution, a fan favorite mechanic from the 6th generation of Pokemon games. Despite the futuristic setting, Lumio City is filled with wild zones where Pokemon can roam freely, where you can battle and capture as you see fit. There also seems to be a new battle system where positioning and leading your Pokemon through battles to avoid attacks is key to success. It seems like quite the change up and looks to incorporate some real-time elements to its turn-based combat. The game is set to launch in late 2025 for Nintendo Switch, and will no doubt also come to the Nintendo Switch 2. Ciaran, what are your thoughts on what we saw of Pokemon ZA?
Let's be honest, for Pokemon fans, you probably should be wishing that Dylan was on this episode and not me. Because and I've been spouting this for a very long time, really wish we would hold the Pokemon Company and Game Freak to a higher fucking standard of game. Because if this is potentially the first look we've had at a Nintendo Switch 2 game, which, let's be honest, is probably a Nintendo Switch 1 game that's been pushed back to be on Nintendo Switch 2, this game, I'm frustrated that the games keep looking like this. And it's okay.
It's an art style.
It's an art style, but it's you could do this art style, but look better and have it could be a better presented package. I think it just is frustrating to continue to to want more out of this game. Like, this game has a lot of potential in terms of the basis of what it is. Yes, it's doing more in terms of the 3D Pokemon battles and Pokemon actively moving around during the battle and having the real-time battle aspect of it. But to see the various different art zones, or there's not going to be, once again, there's still not going to be any voice acting, or just to see, like, most of the city kind of view is the same style of building, repeated a lot of the time.
Well, we don't know how much of the city we're seeing.
We don't know, but I still think this is your opportunity to wow people. This is your opportunity to make people go, wow, this is amazing. And I don't think this trailer did that. I just think it's more Pokemon.
No, I can get that, but, obviously there are a lot of stuff that switches it up, I guess. Like, that new battling style is definitely different. Although the most jarring thing for me is all the Pokemon seem to be exact same size.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this, the Onix comes out, is like the same size as whatever Pokemon it's fighting against,
This is the thing, right? If you want to get a Tepig, and I'm terrible with this generation's Pokemon name, so I apologize, but Tepig's third evolution is massive. It's like this big fighter
sumo
pig, sumo pig.
Yeah.
It's just gonna look crap if that's not big. I think it's really dumb, and this is what I was memeing about a little bit at the start with the Pokemon's rides. How dumb is it to have a city where you have wild zone areas inside the city for and you spout it in the trailer. They actually spout it of, so wild Pokemon can live comfortably. But also in these wild zones, people can go in there and catch Pokemon. like to me from like a narrative
It's just
point,
like fishing, you know?
it's just like,
The
but it's
ocean
like,
is there. It's a place that they can live, but also they can get captured. So,
but like these are special places that have been like built inside the city. Like it's almost like you have like a wildlife reserve, but you're like, hey, you can go in there, take all the wildlife you want. Go in there, go grab yourself a deer. You can see you see that koala, you go get that koala, mate, and you take it home with you. It's yours for free. Like it's just fucking dumb. Like to me, the concept of it really quite stupid. Like it just, I would understand if it was like a wild territory for you to like for Pokemon to live in harmony in the city and to have their own habitats. It'd be really cool if it was that. And you'd have little missions or quests that told you like helping those areas or saving those areas from people trying to catch them, trying to poach them. But no, it's like go have at it, catch them.
maybe you're helping cull the ecosystem. You know, you can't have too many Pokemon.
Then we get to then we go to the comment of, are Pokemon just a vermin? Are Pokemon just a vermin on this society? Much the same as we Australians need to go out of our way to make sure kangaroos stay down because we lost one war to the emus. Wait, that's the thing, right? We lost a war to a fucking emu. These people have got creatures in their world that can fucking spit fire and can change the weight of gravity and do all this crazy shit. Like, it's wild. Pokemon's wild, man.
It is wild. The thing that I thought was potentially interesting is like there could be more of a story to this one. Like they made a point of like pointing out these new characters that they're introducing in this game. I think that would be something that kind of sets this apart to a lot of the other ones, like a strong narrative.
The thing is, I don't think this is where my I'm so pessimistic when it comes to Pokemon. Yes. Even though the guy that the hotel owner, his character design, I was like, that's fucking fire. Like he's an interesting character. I want to get to know him. But I'm so pessimistic when it comes to Pokemon stories because the video game stories, they just never give a fuck. There's just never a good narrative or never a good, even like the Legends of Arceus, like it wasn't a good narrative through point. And I think that's where I'd love there to be voice acting in the game. I'd love there to be, fuck, mate, like this probably is asking me too much, but like even if you go, okay, it's a Japanese developer, they do things differently. Look at Atlas. Look at what Persona, like what they do with Persona. That is what you could do with Pokemon.
Yeah, let us date other trainers. What?
Well, maybe not. Potentially.
You want to get down with that bug boy.
Potentially, but like, have them build relationships. Have them be voice acted characters you can connect to and like. And remember, like, I think too many like this is of course me being the pessimistic person of Pokemon, as I've said. Too many Pokemon games just rest on the fact that it's a Pokemon game. People are going to buy it. And they don't have to push themselves. They don't have to do anything revolutionary or to do it. And if it was like any other game really, other than maybe like some other Nintendo IPs, if they did as little as they do in their franchises, fuck, people would be ripping them to shreds.
Harsh, very harsh, but possibly a little bit fair.
Fucking sorry, people ripped into the Insomniac team because the Spider-Man 2 puddles didn't look as good as the Spider-Man 1 puddles.
I'm sure there's people digging into Pokemon.
But there's not on the mass cares. That there was. That was a big thing.
That's because the what are they called? Incels aren't playing Pokemon. They're playing Spider-Man. Unfortunately. The incels don't care about Pokemon. A new game was announced here at Pokemon Presents. Pokemon Champions is in development for Nintendo Switch and mobile devices. It's focused on Pokemon battling, specifically pitting your skills against trainers from around the world, and is tailor-made to be accessible by all kinds of players. Yes, you can also link the game with Pokemon Home and by extension Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well as Pokemon Go. This means you can share Pokemon between these applications and games to use in battles and trading across each title. This just seems to be the latest edition of like Pokemon Stadium from back in the day. So it's just your basic Pokemon battles, except that's it.
You know what was the best part of Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2?
What, the minigames?
The narratives. Because there was actually story in both those games, and they were both very good.
I honestly can't remember any of the story of Pokemon.
They're very cool. God, why did it set to be a mobile game, Ashley?
Because the Pokemon trading card game and Pokemon Go make a ton of money. As well as all the other games that will probably mention have a bunch of other stuff here.
I just like I feel like if this was like a full-fledged Nintendo Switch game, this is probably maybe the disappointing thing, right? Is that none of this stuff feels catered for the Nintendo Switch 2. Which is fucking frustrating. As like it has to be, right? Like you're telling me that like one of the biggest IPs and the biggest studios within an umbrella is making up and coming games, but they're not specifically making them for your newest flagship product that you're going to be releasing potentially at the end of the year. That's fucked.
No, Pokemon's too big a property to contain to the Switch 2.
But it's not going to contain to it, but even to do it runs better on the Switch 2. It looks better on the Switch 2.
I'm sure that's the messaging they'll have when it comes out.
But why would you not have that messaging now?
Because the Switch 2 has not been revealed.
But it has.
I feel like that.
Like then it has been revealed.
We know it's a thing. We don't know what.
We know it's a thing. So, but that's the thing then. All right. So why did this Pokemon Presents need to happen today?
Because it's Pokemon Day.
Fuck. But then, okay, all right, because it's Pokemon Day, sure. But if you're then saying Pokemon is a big enough thing that it can't be contained to the Switch 2, give Pokemon 2, give the Switch 2 the Pokemon treatment and have it be a part of this presentation. Talk about the Switch 2 in this presentation.
No.
Have the logo in this presentation.
Come on, Ciaran. We knew that wasn't going to happen.
But why not? Like, this seems like such a fucking blunder. Have it be like, hey, we've made this game for the Switch 2. It's going to run on the Switch as well. But the Switch 2 is going to be like its centralized place. Awesome. Great. Instantly a reason for people to go buy the Switch 2.
This presentation was about selling the Pokemon games, not selling a Nintendo Switch 2.
But why can't you do both?
Because it's Nintendo and they make weird decisions. Why would,
I feel like
they want to be focused.
But it's still focused. You can still achieve both goals at the same time. Like, even then, right? You'd probably have me being like, not as harsh on ZA if I knew it was coming to the Switch 2 and that there's going to be a lot more to it on the Switch 2. Because to me, if that's
why would you think there would be more on the Switch 2?
Not more of it in terms of content. I'm more meaning
more pixels.
It's more pixels. It's going to run better. Everything. Like, we could prove that, but like,
I guarantee you, Pokemon ZA is going to be shown during that Switch presentation.
It will, but it's not going to. They're not going to say it's going to run better.
I think they will.
This is the thing. I don't have the.
I think they'll say it looks better and it plays technically better.
I just don't think that. Yeah, I don't have the faith that they have made a different version of the game.
That's fair.
Like, I don't have the faith that they have made like the PlayStation, like, because it's like,
no, I think it'll be technically true in the same way that a PS4 game runs better
on it. Yeah, exactly, right. And to me, that's insane. That towards the end of this year, we're going to have the Switch 2 come out, but potentially, unless of course they come up with a Mario, which then I think that's even worse. You know, they come out with a big title and they've got this big Pokemon game, but it isn't going to take advantage fully of this new platform that they have.
Agree to disagree.
Fair enough.
And then the rest of the presentation was announcing game tie-ins. There's some mystery gift that you can get a Rotom phone skin or special case. It's Scarlet and Violet. The Pokemon trading card game. They did announce the new themed booster packs, Triumphant Light. and you can also get a bunch of genetic Apex expansion boost packs. Pokemon's Concierge, the first 4 episodes are up on YouTube right now to watch for free, and they're currently in development on season 2. This is, of course, the stop-motion Netflix series, which a little girl and her Psyduck are like taking care of Pokemon come to a hotel. And then there were other updates too: Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Masters X, EX, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Cafe Remix. You know, all of those mobile games, Ciaran. All very successful in their own way, making Pokemon a bunch of money, I'm sure. That's why Pokemon Champions is coming to mobile. I don't think Pokemon Champions is going to be that in depth that it requires it to be on the Nintendo Switch. And
yeah,
any of the Pokemon,
but it could be,
or any of the Pokemon Stadium games, they don't need to be on the Switch 2 or whatever.
But it could be, Ashley.
Let's move on. Annapurna held their present interactive showcase. Of course, this as part of their new era post their big staff exodus. So reading from Gameshub, the first game that we saw was a Wheel World. Developers at Messhoff revealed more about Wheel World, an upcoming cycling game where you'll grab a bike and head off to explore an open world with few boundaries. The game features a lovely cel-shaded art style and beautiful, bright colors that should make it a joy to explore. I thought this. I can't remember where we saw this game before. It was obviously.
I feel like this was at Summer Games Fest, maybe.
It could be. I definitely remember that skull in front of the bicycle. So, looks like a solid, cozy game. You'll be able to race against people or race against other characters in the game and that kind of stuff. But mostly just, it's for the vibes. Very cool art style. Next up, we had Wonder Stop. A upcoming narrative-centric cozy game about people going through changes they don't necessarily want to go through and seeing how they react. Looks interesting. It seems to be like some sort of tea/coffee/potion game. This one is set to launch on PS5, Xbox, and PC on the 11th of March. And features a cup-stealing bird. The best way to describe it. Good comedy bit. Then we had Skin Deep, a new comedic first-person shooter set in space. The game started development in 2018 and has slowly expanded over time as its team worked together to create new avenues and enhance its narrative and humor. You play as a ex-assassin, now insurance fixer, who is trying to stop a bunch of pirates attacking the ship they're coming on. I thought the interesting thing about this one is apparently it's being built on the Doom 3 engine.
The Doom 3 engine?
Yeah. Like, it kind of helps with, like, the style and look of it, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's, like, fundamentally works, but very good. Did you watch this presentation? I can't remember.
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of it. I skimmed through, especially those that were on the Steam Next Fest, because I'm very excited for even the two you've already talked about, like Wheel World and Wonder Stop. I'm excited for both. Very much, and both on my wish list.
Geometric Interactive, the team behind Cocoon, announced that they've confirmed to publish their next game with Annapurna Interactive, and that they're also making a collector's edition and record through Limited Games or IMAbit, something like that. You can get a collector's edition of Cocoon. It's coming. Then we had Lush Foil Photography Sim. Matt Newell of Perth, Western Australia, popped in to discuss his highly anticipated solo project. This is an exploration game where you'll wander forests and plains, completing light objectives or making your own fun. The whole point is to lose yourself in the game and be swept away by its lush scenes. As announced, the game is set to launch in early 2025. That's soon. Next up, we have got Far Away. It's a one-button exploration game where you control a shooting star that wants to stay alive and travel, and does that by creating constellations in a minimalist, colorful world. While seemingly simple in nature, this game has deep systems and allows you to venture far and wide to create your own cosmic worlds. Far Away launches on PC in 2025. Pretty interesting little, minimalistic game. Looks interesting. We had a new look at T to a T. So Keita Takahashi popped in for a new look and to reveal the release date for the game. It's about a teenager and a dog having fun traveling through a cutesy world. But the little teenager is stuck in a T-pose forever. Not explain why. I assume spinal fusion. As Takahashi says, you can talk a giraffe in your travels. That's a very clever hook. Per the game's fun musical trailer, To a T will launch on the 28th of May on Xbox, PS5, and PC. Very catchy tune as well. Talking about how great cooking is. Then we also had a look at Morsels, an action roguelike game about exploring a concrete world as a tiny mouse who can transform into a range of monsters using collectible cards. This one is coming in 2025. This looked alright. Not enough gameplay, to get a good idea of what the game is. And then the final announcement for the Annapurna Interactive Showcase was that Sayonara Wild Hearts is now available on PS5, complete with haptic feedback, 120 frames per second refresh rate, and a bunch of other improvements, as well as a new unlockable mode. Solid showcase. Probably not as memorable as some of the other ones, but obviously they're going through some changes at the moment, so
I think it's always like I don't know. I think whereas Devolver, of course, is the big kind of when they do showcases, they do like the big stories. There's something about Annapurna. I feel very cozy about Annapurna games. I like for like somebody who maybe struggles a little bit with kind of investing in indie games and then finding his place within indie games. I think it's very easy with Annapurna to kind of find a good happy middle ground for a lot of games that are in their catalogs.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we had the ID at Xbox Showcase as part of IGN FanFest. This one had a bunch of stuff, so I'm just gonna rattle a bunch of stuff off at the start. Again, reading from Gameshub. Here's a brief roundup of headliner news from There's a few other tidbits revealed in bite-sized form. Balatro is out on Xbox Game Pass, and a new Friends of Jimbo update includes cards inspired by Fallout, Assassin's Creed, Bugsnax, Play the Princess, Critical Role, and more. 33 Immortals is set for early access on the 18th of March. Multiplayer co-op game Jumpship got a new trailer. Echo Weaver was revealed in a new game trailer, spotlighting Metroidvania-like gameplay and the need to escape time loops. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault, will launch on Xbox Game Pass. Currently, this game is set to launch later in 2025. Puzzle game Blueprints got a new trailer, revealing more of its unique and mysterious world. This game is set to launch on the 10th of April. Thought that looked pretty good. Hurdling got a new trailer. It's confirmed it'll launch in summer 2025, as previously revealed. This is a game about hurdling mythical creatures through a strange world. Outbound got a new trailer, a relaxing open world adventure in the wilderness where you travel in a camper van, collect resources, and forge a path through a cozy world. It's set to launch in 2026. Tanuki Pond's Summer got a new trailer revealing more about the titular raccoon and his mission to live a Mal in his cozy town. That's set to release later in 2025. Descenders Next launches on the 9th of March. Woodo got a new trailer. This game is about solving unique puzzles in a cozy world. Lonesome Guilds from Don't Nod and Tiny Bull Studios got a reveal trailer spotlighting its strange and wild animal adventure. This game is set to launch in autumn 2025 in the Northern Hemisphere. And then there was Buckshot Roulette, which is set to be coming to PC and Xbox Game Pass soon. Here are some other ones that have been got. GameShub have given a little bit more in-depth descriptions for. Tempopo is set to launch in April 2025. Tempopo, the next game from unpacking developer Witchbeam, will officially launch for PC, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch on the 17th of April. Much sooner than anybody expected. In Tempopo, you'll guide a little flower-like Tempopo through multiple puzzle stages where everything moves and breathes to a beat. Very interesting. Obviously, we played like a very early version of Tempopo at PAX, like several years ago, maybe at this point. I think maybe it was before COVID. Like that's how long ago. So maybe that's not right.
Feels sooner, but also feels further away. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, when did Unpacking come out? They'll tell me. Packing came out 2021, so definitely after COVID.
Yep.
Maybe like 2022. But yeah, it looks like obviously they've fleshed that concept out a lot more. Obviously, it's like an instructional puzzle game, where you like give the Tempopos instructions on what to do and when, and that kind of stuff. So that's exciting to see that that's not far away. Next up, we've got Waxheads, which launches in summer 2026. It's a very cool looking record store sim. Set to launch in summer. While that's some way away, there's plenty to look forward to. Waxheads well replicates the feeling in indecision as you hover over a JB Hi-Fi music rack, juggling your choices in hand. With funny little snippets of dialogue accompanying this indecision, it adds in a lovely dose of humor along the way. Meanwhile, in the background, tales of mystery and punk to unfold. This was very cool, in my opinion. I thought this very cool art style. Interesting concept. I know very little about record stores, but
you can cosplay as Buddy Watson.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yep.
So yeah, looks like a fun adventure game coming in 2026. Then we've got Tron Catalyst, the next title from Bithell Games. It's set to launch June 2025. The game adapts the iconic film series with the original story, starring a program called EXO, which can initiate time loops. As it is in standard Tron media, EXO must wield this power to save a crumbling grid and fight back against evil programs. This looks like an interesting use of the Tron legacy, the Tron IP. Smart timing, because obviously the Ares movie is coming later this year. I doubt it has at any time, but yeah, I mean, very cool to see him go around in the bikes and like throwing the holo discs and that kind of stuff. So this looks pretty interesting. There was a new trailer for the Lies of P DLC, Lies of P Overture. This revealed the DLC is a dramatic prequel that transforms players back to Krat, its unseen grandeur on the verge of collapse. In the adventure, players will follow the path of the legendary Stalker in a tale designed to define the past and future of Lies of P. Were you a Lies of P player, Ciaran? I can't remember.
I was. I very much enjoy. I didn't finish it, but I enjoy the. It made Soulsborne games more accessible to me because it had a more
strong narrative.
The narrative was at its 4 point. And I think it's very interesting. This DLC kind of heavily connects into the main character, but also some characters that have been talked about but were not seen in Lies of P. So, it should be a good game to follow through.
Yeah. Then we got the trailer for Journey to the Savage Planet sequel, Revenge of the Savage Planet, which is set to launch on the 8th of May. This new trailer revealed new weapons, aliens, and eye-catching exploration. I've got no feelings on the Savage Planet games.
I watched it and was like, man, is this Goo Ranch Simulator? I think there's a couple games that are all kind of very similar in it, so it was what it was.
Yeah. We got a new trailer for the Patapon-like rhythm game Ratatan. It confirmed the game is set to launch in 2025. It also revealed new looks at big bosses and its side-scroll action. The title continues to look incredibly cute with a very strong art direction. At the start, I'm like, man, this is like, you look at the logo and you're like, this is a clear rip-off of Patapon. Like, I know it's from the same director, but like, come on, change things up. And then you see this little animal creature, like a little bunny, pop out, and I'm like, oh, this is very different to Patapon. And then, like 5 seconds later, you see all the Patapon creatures come out. You're like, fuck, this is exactly a Patapon. So, I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of lawsuit. But yeah, if you've been dying for a new Patapon game, this is the one.
Patapon.
Yeah, they just say different words now. So,
mm-hmm.
We got a trailer for the new Suda 51 and Sweary game that they're currently working on, a bizarre new game titled Hotel Barcelona. As you might expect, it looks very wild and rocks an entirely compelling presence. You play as a woman who is a serial killer living inside her head. To solve this particular conundrum, you'll need to set forth and kill other serial killers while also working to escape an evil hotel. Set to launch in 2025. I got none of that story from this trailer.
None at all.
It's just like freaky, like weird imagery and that kind of stuff. And like, I mean, it looks like a cool side scroller and that kind of stuff, but now there's a narrative thing behind it. That's kind of cool. Last one, we've got Rock Beasts.
Dude, this game looks sick.
Yes. One of the most surprising premieres of the ID Xbox Showcase was Rock Beasts, an upcoming Metalocalypse like game where you guide a 90s rock band of anthropomorphic beasts through their many trials and tribulations. Set to release in 2025. Yeah, it looks incredible. It looks like it like positions itself as like a behind the music-esque documentary, but it seems like you'll be playing the manager making decisions that obviously will affect their story in some sort of way. But yeah, the art style looks incredible. Character designs look really cool. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think immediately kind of you watch it and you know the tone of this game. You know what they're going to be going for. You know the kind of the style of humor it's going to be. It's not going to be for everybody, but I think if you immediately sit there and it takes you back to various Adult Swim shows that you watched maybe growing up that you probably shouldn't have been at the time, yeah, it fits perfectly in with that.
I mean, there's a massive BoJack Horseman fan. It took me straight back. So
yes,
yeah, very excited for this one. I wish listed it on Steam like almost as soon as the trailer finished. So that's all the presentations for this week. So let's move into some more depressing news. Reading from Polygon. Warner Brothers Games making big cuts, closing 3 studios. Monolith Productions, Player First Games, into Warner Brothers San Diego, and cancelling its long in development Wonder Woman game that publisher told employees on Tuesday. All projects from those studios have been cancelled. Monolith Productions developed Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and its sequel Shadow of War, and was working on Wonder Woman. Player First Games was the developer behind the recently scrapped fighting game Multiverses, while WB Games San Diego was working on what it once described as an exciting new AAA free-to-play cross-platform game. Employees at Warner Brothers Studios were informed of the closures and game cancellations in the communication from executive JB Parrott, the president of Global Streaming and Games for Warner Bros. Discovery. In an email to employees obtained by Polygon, Ciaran cited a disappointing 2024 for the games division, saying it would focus on 4 franchises going forward: Harry Potter / Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat, DC, primarily Batman when it comes to single characters led games, but may include select other opportunities at the new DCU get built, and Game of Thrones. Regarding the new now scrapped Wonder Woman, which was announced in 2021, Parrott said the game no longer fell within our strategic priorities. Parrott said the company is looking to repurpose our talent where possible by reassigning employees to open roles. In addition to focusing on fewer but bigger franchises, Parrott said Warner Bros. Games aims to return to growing its mobile games revenue as well as regain our credibility and swagger at producing great games. Parrott said of recent releases from WB Games, the product, market fit, and quality of too many of our releases has really missed the mark. Ciaran, what was your reaction to the mass layoffs or, studio closures this week at WB?
You know what? I just was pissed off. Because the fuckers patented the Nemesis system. And now it's fucking dead.
Well, it's technically not dead, as who did I pull the article from? One article from Eurogamer says the system is locked away by Warner Brothers patent until 2036.
That's still
in 11
dead.
years' time.
It's 11 years.
Someone can pull that system out
it's fucked.
In 11 years, we're going to be flooded with Nemesis system games.
I really, really fucking hope that something takes place legally to prevent such a thing happening again. Because
to be clear, Warner Brothers still has to pay patent fees if they want to retain the patent fees.
So they
could decide not to do that.
But what I'm saying is just the fact that it was, 2017, 2018 on the last one?
Yep.
And we just haven't had that.
The fact they were allowed to patent that system is ridiculous, yes.
The fact that it was allowed to be patented, the fact that they have not gone on to use it at all since. Like, I think apparently the idea was for maybe Wonder Woman was going to potentially use it.
So Warner Brothers, it was planning to use the Nemesis system. I think there was a big talk with Jason Schreier on Kind of Funny Games Cast, where he kind of explained like the backstory of everything and the history of Monolith Games. How before they were making Wonder Woman, they were working on like an original IP, but that's not what Warner Brothers wanted them to be working on. So then they worked on Wonder Woman and were going to do like a reverse version of the Nemesis system, where it's like you were trying to befriend a bunch of people and like as Wonder Woman, and then that would kind of affect the Nemesis system across the board in some way. Before they decided, no, we're just going to make Wonder Woman more like a God of War and I assume that would have used the Nemesis system in more like a Shadow of Mordor sort of way. So
it's just it's frustrating. It's frustrating we're not going to see anything more from it. It's frustrating that we're not going to experience any more of it. Fucking sucks. It's the minimal of it, especially for Monolith, because they did so well with Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, and then when that's the end for that team. Warner Brothers, I don't know. Once again, I wish Warner Brothers would just go the way of what Disney and Marvel have done, and just go out to different teams and be like, here, have this IP. What would you do with it if you had the opportunity to do this? Instead of making it in-house, I get making Mortal Kombat in-house. I understand that one. But yeah, I just don't think, Hogwarts Legacy was such a success, but it's it's just frustrating, and it just feels like Warner Brothers really don't exactly know what to do here. Like, it kind of you'd be under the pressure if you were part of the up and coming Game of Thrones game that's coming out.
I think that's a licensed game from the one they showed at Game Awards.
Yes, yeah.
I believe that's a licensed.
Okay,
because it's also coming to mobile. I believe is one of those types. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, no, because this was like a full like third person like.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming to.
Mobile's a bigger space than you think,
No, it's not that mobile's. It's not that I know mobile's a big space. I just get frustrated when games have to limit themselves to be on mobile as well as console. I think it's not a good limit.
I know it works for the whatchamacallits of the world.
The gacha games.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I don't know too many people who play those games on their mobile phone over on a console.
But, in Asia, it's a bigger deal.
Of course.
So. I mean, disappointing. Obviously, this is on the back of, like, I feel like this is, like, from my understanding, a new, like, head of video games at Warner Brothers has come in, and they've kind of made the call to kind of clear the slate, I guess, on the back of, like, several years of them chasing the live service stream, with, titles like Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights, and even dating back to Shadow of War, where they stick up a bunch of loot boxes in that for no reason. Them trying to monetize these games in ways that players didn't want them to be monetized. So here they're going back to, they've got a clear focus of what kind of titles they want to make in-house, at least. Is, probably for the best. Like, obviously they're going to make a Hogwarts Legacy sequel because that did gangbusters. Mortal Kombat is, of course, like a massive franchise, and like apparently Rocksteady is currently working on another Batman Arkham game, like Batman game. But yeah, I mean, it's disappointing to see these studios closed. Like, I don't know how far along the Wonder Woman game was.
It had to have been decent because they moved on from.
I don't know. From the sound of it, like they rebooted it at least once. So
yes, yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously you see some of the people that they had consulting, like famous comic writers who have assisted you with the character and that kind of stuff. And it's equally disappointing because like Wonder Woman is a character one of the most prominent female comic book characters. Like, again, getting the shaft, kind of. Not the plans for it in the future. The Player First Games one is kind of weird because obviously they bought them like 6 months ago, like maybe just as multiverses were coming back. So them to shut them down again, it's like so crazy. And then I don't even know what this San Diego team was working on. So, yeah, I don't know. I think hopefully they go down, like you said, like the Disney Marvel route and kind of like license these titles out. Like, even though a lot of studios aren't super keen on licensing titles out, like I believe there was a story like a couple of weeks ago that NetEase was considering like canceling Marvel Rivals like early days because they didn't want to pay for the licensing fees and that kind of stuff. So, um, but yeah, I mean, if you want to focus on these core ones in house and like you can let other studios like work on other properties, I think that's probably the best use of their IP that they could probably do. But yeah, hopefully with this new leadership, they've got more of a they realize it, and it sounded from the conversation that Jason Schreier had on the Gamescast that he has more of a understanding of how the games industry works, how games are a non-linear development cycle and that kind of stuff, and like the next Hogwarts Legacy game is probably not going to make more money than the last one because there isn't super crazy demand for it, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much of a future there is for WB, and like, or in like 12 months' time, are they going to just sell off or close all their studios and like that's it? Although they did, Jason did say that they consider it's a area of growth for the company potentially in video games. So we'll see. Other disappointing news. Playground Games' Fable reboot has officially been pushed back to 2026 to allow the studio more time to work on its vision. The game was first announced back in 2020 and appeared to be getting close to release, with published Xbox Game Studios even throwing around a 2025 launch date recently, but it does appear we're a bit further away than initially anticipated. We previously announced the date for Fable is 2025. We're actually going to give Fable more time. It is going to ship in 2026. Craig Duncan, Xbox Game Studios chief, announced on the official Xbox podcast. Well, I know that's not what maybe the news people want to hear. What I want to assure people of is it's definitely worth the wait. I have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. Of course, despite the loss of Fable, there is still plenty of work in the works at Xbox Game Studio this year. In fact, 2025 is shaping up to be one of its biggest years for the publisher, with many of its long-gestating projects set to release in the coming months. I'm intrigued. Like, do you think the success or like of Avowed and like the good word around it has allowed them to like maybe have a little bit more time to work on Fable?
Potentially. I don't know. To be honest, I look at this as a pretty positive story in terms of Xbox is comfortable with just giving them more time, and the studio is comfortable to put their hand up early enough. I think it's a bad look if you get away, like if there's a proper release date,
yeah,
and you'll get within like 3 months of that, and then you're like, whoa, we're going to push this back 3 months. Assassin's Creed Shadows looking at you. I don't think that's ever a good look, and I don't think it ever works out very well. I think this is a good look.
Understandable.
It's understandable. It's Avowed's done well. Xbox is probably comfortable, or Microsoft's comfortable with whatever they've got cooking for the second half of this year to move Fable out and get it into next year, and just to do that early, to do that in February, and to not have people kind of build up expectations and be asking about it. Because for a game like we haven't even seen a hint of gameplay for yet.
I believe they released a gameplay trailer this week. Like,
did they? Okay,
weirdly to coincide.
Well, that's something then. Like that'll be something then to have that release at the same time. But yeah, no, it is. It's sad that we're not going to get it sooner, but at the same time, it's happy that we've got more of a chance for it to be fulfilled and to be the title that we're hoping it to be.
Yeah, so they released some pre-alpha like gameplay footage, which is pretty basic. It's kind of sword swinging and character models and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think they're probably happy to push it considering the strength of the slate this year. The only thing you would say is like it's pretty front loaded for the year. I believe South Midnight's April, and then Doom is like June or something like that. But then they don't really have anything later in the year from off the top of my head. But I mean, as the saying goes, a delayed game is whatever the saying is. I gave up.
Delayed game's better than a cancelled game.
Yeah.
People are still working on it. People
or
are
a
still
good
employed.
game at launch or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Fable, that's going to come 2026. So if you had Fable, you're a fantasy critic, maybe you should go check.
Maybe it's already been dropped.
Maybe it's
or
already
it's
been
in
dropped.
the process of dropping at the moment.
It's being dropped, yes. Last story for this week is more of a public service announcement than anything else. The Last of Us is set to get its long-anticipated second season on April 14th, 2025. Previously, it was assumed this would be streaming on Binge in Australia, but a new press release has confirmed that it won't be the case. Instead, it'll be streaming exclusively on HBO's Max. As announced in a recent press release, HBO will launch in its Max streaming service within Australia on the 31st of March. This move has been announced several months prior, but its arrival came relatively out of the blue, as did the short lead up to its formal launch. In just a few weeks, Max will arrive, and in Australia, it will begin to largely supersede Binge. To date, Binge has been a must-have streaming service in Australia, thanks to its inclusion of HBO shows, as well as its deals with WWE and other content providers. Earlier this year, Binge lost its WWE content to Netflix, and now it is set to lose its HBO content to Max. Of course, it has plenty of other content, but yeah. Apparently, as soon as Max launches, all HBO content on Binge will be removed. Except currently airing shows like The White Lotus will continue its seasonal run. So yeah, if you want to watch Last of Us Season 2, you will need to subscribe in Australia to the upcomingly launching streaming service Max to watch it. Did you know that, Ciaran, before I posted the story in the notes or read this story on air?
I think it's why is my mind blank?
Did you know about this, though? This is what
No,
I
I didn't. No. Sorry. My mind just went completely different. No, I did not actually. No.
Yeah. I mean, me and Dylan will probably break this a little bit more down on what do you want to watch this week. But yeah. If you want to watch Last of Us Season 2, you will need to subscribe to Max. You won't need Binge. If you're a Foxtel user, you'll get a free
HBO Max.
A couple of months of HBO Max, I believe.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, smart on Max's thing to get ahead of the season if they want to get subscribers in to watch the latest one. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say other than rights. All right. Anything else you want to talk about this week, Ciaran?
No, you got it all. It's all good. Play some demos. Steam Next Fest is on right now. Lots of the games that we've talked about in this episode, in those showcases, are right there right now for you to play.
Have you tried anything yet?
No, I've downloaded. I literally just press Wax Heads, and I've got Wheel World and Wonder Stop.
Oh, is Wax Heads on there?
Wax Heads is on there. There is a demo on Steam. So if you want to grab that and give that a try, please, give it a download. But yeah, take a look through. Majority of the stuff, if there's anything that piques your interest, Steam Next Fest, get a download. I'll be hoping that I need some more stuff to put on my Steam Deck for my trip to Sydney this week. So yeah, no, it'll be good.
All right. Let us know what you thought of anything we discussed on this week's episode of Arcade Couch by finding us on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com or find us on social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here at Arcade Couch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, leave us 5 stars and leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, for us for $1, head on over to our Ko page at explosionnetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you here next week, same time, same couch. Bye. Ciaran won't be here next week, that's why.
No.
Yeah, I will.
You will. I'll be probably, yeah.